Welcome to the Butts in the Seats podcast, episode number 67.
Feels like we were just here.
Yeah, I was saying, this might be the quickest we've recorded, watched, and then put another episode out.
Again. We decided that we wanted to get this all done before Christmas. So, surprise, there's the timeline for you.
Yeah, we recorded this, 2 or 3 days after the last episode?
We watched the show the same day we recorded the last episode.
And we were going to record yesterday. And
yeah. Why didn't we?
You had some bad taco shells? I do want to note, not bad tacos, bad taco shells.
I somehow food poisoned myself twice in the same day with the same food.
I also want to note that we're now in the second theme of the opening because I went to go find a WCW Mayhem theme song, and the only one that was available was 1 minute and 5 seconds long, so we're definitely in the second song by now.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem very loopable.
Oh, well, I just don't think you're that creative. Do you want to talk about these taco shells that poisoned me?
Want to call out Old El Paso?
Old El Paso hint of lime taco shells. What the fuck are y'all doing?
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
The reason I know it was the shells is because Nick didn't eat the shells. He had one bite and then he decided he didn't like them, so he transferred his tacos to tortillas, and then I ate all the shells. And then I got sick that night, and the next day I was like, there's no way it was the shells. That's dumb. Who could get food poisoning from a tortilla chip? So I ate the rest of the shells. I crushed them up into chips, and then I got sick an hour later.
Yeah. You did also ignore the fact that you laughed at me because we only had burrito size tortillas, and I'm like,
so he cut them
what?
into smaller tortillas.
It's too big. Also, when I was looking at what episode number this was,
67.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, I'm 2 away from the big one.
Nice.
We only get one episode 69.
It's gonna be so fucking nice.
Unless we reboot, I don't know.
It's gonna be nice. What if we just have a second podcast? Start something else.
We barely have time for this one.
We have plenty of time. You just won't let me edit.
So today we're talking about the show, not the video game or the album, of WCW Mayhem.
1999.
Yes. There are 2 of them, because when we looked this up originally, I'm like, oh, it's weird. There's only the one, episode, season kind of thing. And for some reason on Peacock, the next one is marked as Mayhem 2000.
Because everything that was in 2000 was marked as 2000.
I feel like that mostly stopped in 2000, especially the end of it. I feel like that was or at least in wrestling.
I guess it was the end of 2000, yeah.
Yeah, in wrestling, it's all right, 1997 hits, Techno Team 2000.
Everything was branded 2000, though. Games, movies, TV shows, everything was, 2000 themed in that year, I feel. I feel like everything had that kind of a branding.
A little bit.
Into the new millennium.
What are they, Sid?
Shut up. I thought you were going to get into the whole, 2000s, not the start of the millennium. Don't fucking do that.
So yeah, there's WCW Mayhem, live from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, on November 21st, 1999.
It is not Toronto. It is Toronto.
Oh.
When I went to Toronto, I got yelled at. It is not Toronto. Toronto. It's like Buckingham versus Buckingham.
I'm not from there. They are in the Air Canada Centre, and this show is sponsored by, in 1999, what was actually a pretty good company, but in 2022 is one of the worst companies in the world, Electronic Arts.
Oh yeah. Wait, why are they terrible in 2022? What?
At least EA Sports is very notably bad, but I feel like EA probably ain't too far behind.
Well, EA used to be the developer of The Sims. It is no longer EA. But they were probably sponsoring this because The Sims, the first one, comes out next year.
Emily, that's not why they're sponsoring this.
Maybe. It's a big game.
Emily, legitimately, that's not what they're sponsoring. Emily, they made the Mayhem game that just came out.
I don't know. Could be The Sims. Could be The Sims.
It's not.
Could be.
Actually, I guess EA Sports and WCW kind of deserve each other. Regurgitating the same product that you've already done and expecting more money.
But with The Sims, it did better every time.
Oh, I'm saying, but Madden and FIFA.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Sims at least got better with time. Except for after Sims 3. And then Sims 4 kind of sucked. Sims 3 was the peak of all Sims.
So a few notes on this show before we get into it. I'm not going to make you do the whole Price is Right game. But this was not a sellout, but was pretty close.
Really?
The venue holds 15,000. Apparently sold 13,000.
15,000 feels small for an arena. How, what kind of an arena was this?
That's pretty standard. I mean, it's a hockey arena.
Okay.
That's pretty standard.
Okay. Hockey arena, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, hockey and basketball, I mean, I feel like it maxes out around, the bigger ones, 25.
Yeah.
So part of the reason this was not a sellout, other than the fact that, the product, WWF ran a show at a nearby arena the night before.
Oh, really?
In one of those coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like how they had the first Survivor Series on the same night as Starrcade.
Interesting.
Weird how that works out.
So wild and crazy.
So in terms of buy rate, it's down a little bit from last month.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like last month did 230,000 buys. The pay-per-view before that did 130,000. This is just down a little from last month. This is at 200,000 buys, which, I mean, admittedly, for like it's a pay-per-view that has no kind of lineage or prestige, so it's not the worst.
I don't understand why this product's doing well.
And
relatively.
And for what it's worth, this is in the same like pay-per-view slot as World War III was last year.
Oh God.
It's down from World War III, but it's down less from World War III than Halloween Havoc was from the previous Halloween Havoc.
There's such weird metrics there. I want
Yeah.
to see the line graph.
I'll put it this way. Next month is the major red flag.
What's next month's pay-per-view?
Starrcade.
Oh, I was
the big
wondering
one.
when Starrcade would come back.
Yeah, it's Starrcade. And last year, Starrcade did 460,000 buys. We'll stay tuned for how this one's going to do.
I'm guessing it doesn't get that.
No.
Well, we'll talk about that when we get to that.
Yeah.
Today, it's Mayhem.
So we get the opening package, very generic music. It's a tournament recap, and actually is fairly informative of just like, here's how we got here, in case you weren't watching.
Which, if you're not watching, fair.
Yeah.
Why would you be?
Lots of Tony Schiavone narration. And then we get a second video package, just kind of focusing on this show. Because that one was like, here's how we got here. This one, here's where we are.
Which should have been the same package.
Yeah, it did feel unnecessary.
There should have not been a break in between those.
We then get the opening pyro. Tony and Bobby check in on commentary.
This is a hot crowd.
Yeah, they run through the tournament matches. It's going to be Chris Benoit versus Jeff Jarrett and Bret Hart versus Sting. Winner of each match faces each other in the finals in tonight's main event. They also run through a bunch of other matches. I only got a couple of them because they're just like spouting them off.
There were so many matches.
Sid versus Goldberg, that was previously advertised. Buff versus Hennig in a loser must hang up their boots match. The Revolution versus the Filthy Animals in a mixed six-man elimination tag. For some reason, they advertised Rick Steiner versus Scott Hall.
Which, remember, Rick Steiner just got powerbombed through the floor.
Yeah, and it's not like they were already hyping this and had to change it.
No.
I'm so confused. And then there's a couple other matches, but they're like, yeah, we have 12 matches tonight. And it's like,
Jesus
oh,
Christ.
no.
And that's when Emily decided we were not watching this all in one night.
Oh, you did? Okay, I decided around the middle, but...
No, when he said 12 matches, I'm like, unless these are 3-minute matches each with some like good faff in between, I'm not doing it.
I think they're mostly around 5 or 6 minutes.
They do feel longer.
Yeah. The difference
I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way.
Yeah, well, like the difference between a 3-minute match and a 5-minute match just somehow feels astronomical.
Yeah, it does.
Well, we get our opening match, and it's semifinals of the WCW title tournament. It is Jeff Jarrett versus Chris Benoit. And a good bit of logic here where Tony Schiavone explains that, like, yeah, they're doing this match first. That way Jeff Jarrett has a nice long rest after he wins.
Ha ha ha. Because Jeff Jarrett's totally going to win.
We get a different theme from even the one Emily thought was different last week for Chris Benoit.
Themes are so confusing to me.
Yeah.
I can't. And then Nick gaslights me. I was like, no, it's been the same theme.
Well, it doesn't help that sometimes they're dubbed. Like, we'll talk about this later, but Sid is just shifting between two different themes. And I'm like, is it the show or is it the network? They start up tempo, and this is where we kind of note that, like, oh, yeah, it's a hot Canadian crowd here tonight. Mm-hmm. Tornado DDT from Benoit and then a neck breaker. Benoit puts Jeff Jarrett on the top rope and then hits a big superplex. And I don't know why. Every time they like set up for a superplex like that, I just expected to get countered. Benoit misses a baseball slide to the outside, but then just like stays on offense. Like, yep, Chris Benoit is a better wrestler than Jeff Jarrett.
That's not shocking.
Jarrett runs Benoit crotch first into the ring post on the outside. And then that's where he kind of gains the advantage, works Benoit over around ringside. And this man knows what he likes. Just brawl around the outside of the ring.
Yeah. We do get a lot of that for a little while.
I think we've mentioned this a little bit. I'm kind of sad how quickly I soured on Jeff Jarrett because I wanted to give him a chance. And I'm already just like...
I don't remember you ever wanting to give him a chance. I remember
internally.
You talked shit about this guy for so long. I'm like, oh, just wait until Jeff Jarrett gets here.
Well, I know he eventually goes downhill. I didn't realize it was after the first
Doesn't
week.
Start uphill.
I think I borderline gave him MVP his first
I think
appearance.
you were forcing yourself to like him.
Well, it was also he smashed Buff over the head with a guitar. But then he also then talked about stroke, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is you. This your man. We get a power slam from Jeff Jarrett back inside. It only gets a 2, so Jarrett hits a suplex, but that also only gets 2. They trade pin attempts, and we get a silent Glargay sleeper from Jeff Jarrett. Like,
So can you even call it a Glargay sleeper if it's silent?
say something, you coward. I want to hear him say it.
Nick gasped so loud again because like, oh, he's gonna do it! I'm gonna hear it.
It's the Jarrett throws someone off the ropes. I'm like,
This is why Nick wants to love Jeff Jarrett so much. Attitude Era Podcast. This is your fucking fault.
no, it's not even that. Although
They made you love him.
No, I never loved Jeff Jarrett. It's one of those where Jeff Jarrett gets among the most hate in wrestling, and I'm just like, hey, it can't be this warranted. And now I'm like, maybe.
Still can't get over when we saw him in AEW.
Yeah, I think he mostly gets more heat for his TNA run.
That was such a glitch in the Matrix moment.
Yeah. The Sting music didn't help the glitch in the Matrix moment.
No, with that AEW show, it was such a clusterfuck going on in my brain. It was the Sting music, it was fake Sting, and then fucking Jeff Jarrett comes out. All 3 things that we had been talking about from like 2001 SmackDown and 1999 WCW. Like, it's 2022. Why is this still a thing?
Well, I'm sure
my brain didn't work that
I'm
way.
sure your brain won't totally break when we go to Raw is XXX.
Oh, it's gonna break. I'm gonna implode.
Yeah, someone's going to show up.
And like someone's gonna show up, the crowd's gonna pop, and I'm gonna be like, "What's the big deal? I just saw him on TV last week, but it's gonna be someone from like 1998."
Emily, what if Vince McMahon turns up?
I will shit my pants.
If he, because I could see him coming out and
No,
doing
that
the
would make sense.
doing the welcome to Monday Night.
I also
Raw.
wouldn't be surprised if like Shawn Michaels makes an appearance.
Maybe
That'd be cool.
Well, apparently you probably didn't read this. Vince is like, I think I got some bad info about stepping down. I don't know about this.
Of fucking course. Of course. I knew this wasn't gonna last. Of course. This is a fucking angle. He's gonna come out at the Royal Rumble. He's gonna come out at the Royal Rumble. He's gonna win the Rumble, and he's gonna try to like somehow win the title, and then Triple H is gonna battle him for the title. It's gonna be like a whole run for ownership of the company.
See, I have two
That's how this is gonna happen.
conflicting hilarious thoughts. One is Vince McMahon being the one to dethrone Roman Reigns.
You think he wouldn't write that?
The other one is Vince McMahon enters the Royal Rumble, tears both quads. And then just has to sit there while everyone eliminates themselves.
That'd be great.
So anyway, Jarrett has the Glargay sleeper in. You need a different name for it when it's silent. The Glargay.
A sleeper? A sleeper.
They do the drop the arm 3 times, but would you believe it? Chris
Oh my
Benoit
God, he
comes to on
powered
the
out.
3rd time.
I'm talking shit, but this actually was a pretty good match.
Yeah, comes up and locks in a Glargay sleeper of his own, and I'm like,
He didn't Glargay. It's
like,
just
Benoit-
a sleeper.
hey Benoit, you are a grunty motherfucker. How
He
are
did
you
not
not making
Glargay.
any noise?
You can't call it a Glargay if he's not Glargaying.
Here's-
It's just a sleeper.
But Jarrett is the expert of this and gets out of it like almost immediately, like jawbreaker, like
Barely
no.
even locks in.
Which I did like the kayfabe of that, of like I know this is a standard move, but this is like a patented Jeff Jarrett move, so he knows how to get out of it. I don't want to compare it to Owen Hart knowing how to counter the sharpshooter, but kind of like that.
Kinda. I mean, that makes sense though. Like if you trained with someone whose the final move ends up being the sharpshooter, if you trained with them your whole upbringing, you've also been trained on how to counter it.
We get a backbreaker from Benoit, followed by some big chops and triple Germans with a bridge.
Do love a triple German.
I think like that's like our best combo because I see those chops and I'm just like, yes.
I'm trying to think of like what we can call the triple Germans. Like a Guten Tag.
I mean, we're running out of time, Emily.
This show's gonna get so much less interesting when all these people leave.
Creative Control come out to ringside as Benoit hits a snap suplex. Benoit gets dropped on the top rope and falls to the floor. Like he crashes and burns, and it's probably like only half C, and then in a confusing spot, which doesn't really get brought up later. I thought it would. Benoit is like getting counted out. The referee gets to like 6 or 7. Benoit's not moved, and Jeff Jarrett goes out to get him.
Yeah, I will never understand why he did that.
Like I
Story
thought
progression,
they would
but, like,
reference
that's
this
it.
later, but
No.
because I mean, there's an element of like, no, I like pride. I want to beat him, but that's kind of a face thing, and Jarrett's definitely not that.
Right.
So he brings Benoit back in. We get a diving crossbody from Jarrett, but Benoit rolls through, almost gets a pin. Back suplex from Benoit follows up with a big diving headbutt, but Benoit is pulled off the pin by Creative Control. The one member who pulls him out kind of distracts the ref. The other member of Creative Control and Jeff Jarrett beat down Chris Benoit, including a stroke from Jeff Jarrett. Jarrett goes for the pin, but Dustin Rhodes runs out.
Call him by his given name.
7.
I will only refer to him as 7 until he apologizes for what he's done. This is 7.
Careful, he might block us on Twitter.
Bummer. Twitter's dying anyway.
If we talk about Black Ray, and he's going to really block us on Twitter.
Bummer.
So he brawls with one of Creative Control. I don't even know which one's which.
Neither does commentary, and I think it's hilarious that they don't know.
The other member of Creative Control goes to give Jarrett the guitar, but Benoit stops it, and him and Jarrett both kind of try for the guitar. Benoit gets it and fucking smashes Jarrett over the head with the guitar.
There's some pent up rage in that smash.
Yeah, well, you were noting that the guitar was already a little bit broken, and
it was when Creative Control handed it to Jeff Jarrett in the ring. It grazed the ring floor, I guess, and it cracked. There was a piece of it in the corner.
Well, I'm wondering if that's part of why what happens, because this busts Jeff Jarrett open hard way.
Yeah.
Which, that has to suck.
Yeah, probably.
Benoit hits Jarrett with the guitar, Jarrett's busted open, and Benoit gets the pin, right as Creative Control was, trying to stop it.
To the point where it almost looked like Creative Control was late, but it was, so perfectly timed.
Yeah, it was great storytelling there of, admittedly, I'm almost curious, what would the referee have done if he got there in time? Because, that's clear outside interference. But,
yeah.
Yeah, so Benoit overcomes the odds, but then he pays for it because he gets beat down by Creative Control and Jarrett after the bell. Security eventually stops them.
They take their time.
Yeah, and then they head to the back. I thought this was a really good match.
It was a good start.
It's a bit of a messy ending, but I follow the logic from it.
Yeah.
You were asking why Dustin Rhodes was there. He did say he was going to make the powers that be's lives hell, and Jarrett's the golden boy.
I guess, yeah.
I thought it made Benoit look strong, and which is you kind of need going when you're about to have him main event your pay-per-view for the title.
Yeah, it was definitely a good match. I won't say that it wasn't. It was very hot crowd, very good match. Good starter, yeah.
Yeah, and the in-ring action, held up. And would you believe it? You give these guys time, they can wrestle.
Right.
Then go backstage. Mike Tenay interviews the Disco Inferno, and he asks him about, hey, this $25,000 stipulation's kind of weird. Disco only says a little bit, and then Jeff Jarrett comes back through the curtain and just beats the shit out of Disco. I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
Yeah, I think he was just coming back from the ring hot. He just wanted to beat up the first person he saw, and it happened to be Disco.
That's what it was. So then we still get Disco's match. It's Evan Courageous with Medusa versus the Disco Inferno for the Cruiserweight title and for the $25,000.
This is the first time they're mentioning the money, right?
They mentioned it. We talked about this last episode.
Oh, yeah.
They mentioned it at Nitro, but they kind of mentioned it out of nowhere.
Okay, yeah.
This is the first time they kind of actually spelled it out. Evan Courageous and Medusa come out, and then Disco Fever hits, which both of us just, I don't know why, in that moment, both of us this does still slap.
This is the only, this is one of the very few themes that has not changed since the beginning of this. It still slaps. It doesn't need to change. It is perfect how it is.
Disco does not come out to the ring, so Tony Marinara makes him go out to the ring.
Yeah, pushes him out. This poor guy was just beat down.
Yeah, so Disco just got beat down. Finally goes out to the ring. Evan Courageous stacks him on the fucking ramp. What a heel.
Yeah, I know. What the fuck was that about, Evan?
And then the ref rings the bell to start the match while they're on the ramp.
I do get Evan's, I get his mindset of just get it over with quick. I want the money. I'm going to kick him while he's down, especially when there's money on the line.
Yeah. Makes him sound like a jerk.
Yeah, he is a jerk, but there's money on the line. He's already down. This seems like an easy win for Evan, so yeah.
And this is not a no DQ match. I don't know why the ref's ringing the bell while they're brawling on the stage. I'm like, yeah.
Can't explain that one to you.
I'm like, are you ringing the bell to end the match? Oh, no, to start it. Okay. Courageous works over Disco. And this is where my notes are going to have to get focused because we have Tony, and Bobby on commentary. And I just wrote Tony for a lot of these notes.
Oh, God. Why would you do that to yourself? Write Shivani or S.
Yeah, so Tony Marinara hops on commentary, and one of the first 10 words out of his mouth is, forget about it.
Hey,
Which is just one word.
Forget about it. There's an H in there.
He tries to, I don't want to say break the fourth wall, but he tries to, I guess, break kayfabe a little bit by talking about how Disco Inferno doesn't owe him money. Glenn Gilberti does.
Who, though?
Except he calls him Gen Gilbretti.
Oh, he butchers the name horribly.
Yeah.
Twice.
The first time he says it, he like starts saying Glenn, and then he calls him Gen, and then... Yeah, he can not get it straight.
I don't know, but the whole kayfabe of it is that Tony and Glenn like were childhood friends or something, and Disco/Glenn owes his father $45,000.
Disco be called Glenn.
I know, but he owes him $45,000, not $25,000. So why is this match for $25,000?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense. He still has more money.
I thought it was for 25, but
no, he owes 45.
Well. Tony Marinara is here on behalf of his dad, and I have to... Oh, God, it was so Italian. I need to fucking read it. De Coppa de Coppa.
Oh, I did not catch it. It was just Italian syllables.
Oh!
His name may as well have been Baba da Boopy.
It's a fucking pizza.
Oh! Hey, I'm walking here. Hey, got the gabagool.
So Disco finally gains the advantage in this match. I could not focus on this match. Tony Marinara derailed me.
Oh, he was the best part of this match. It was a good match, but Tony Marinara on commentary, he should be a mainstay.
Well, one, I don't know about that. Two, we chatted about this a little bit. I think overall, we were both neutral to positive on this show. This show is littered with negative star matches, and this is one of them.
Understand.
And I'm like, yeah.
This was a pretty good match.
Or have we just finally hit the point where we are grading on a curve?
I mean, that may be it, but this really didn't feel insultingly bad. It didn't feel like it
was a little sloppy, but
it wasn't like negative star sloppy.
Yeah, we've seen a lot worse in the recent weeks.
Yeah. And Tony Marinara should at least be a star on his own. Give him 1 star.
Well, Tony Marinara calls Tony Schiavone Tony Bag of Donuts.
And that like got you in the giggles so bad.
I just always laugh at that name.
Tony Bag of Donuts.
It's like it's always Tony Bag of Donuts. It's never any other name.
Start calling you Nikki Bag of Donuts.
It doesn't work as well.
Rocco Bag of Donuts.
Tony is such an Italian name.
Rocco's not.
That's like Italy Italian.
But what?
Tony is New York Italian.
Oh my god.
I swear to God, they're going to go out there as Tony Marinara. You're going to bring him that goddamn sauce.
Jesus Christ.
Which I guess would imply that he blades. He does not.
That's true.
He even could have at one point. But Disco hits a brainbuster in the ring. And this is where I actually noted. I'm like, there's a match happening here. I can't call. Did you catch the reasoning for why Disco owes a bunch of money?
Oh, they were doing like betting on like wrestling matches, right?
No.
They were betting on something.
They were betting on the previous NCAA tournament.
Oh, basketball. No idea.
So the bet that Disco made is he bet on Duke to win the March Madness tournament.
I feel like that's a safe bet because isn't Duke really good?
I just looked it up. They actually made it to the final game. They lost by 3 points.
Oh, so it was a pretty good bet.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like Disco bet on the University of American Samoa, you know?
Breaking back those Breaking Bad references.
But yeah, the bet did not pay off. So anyway, match. Disco hits a Russian leg sweep. Brett's rope elbow. Evan Courageous gets thrown to the floor, and Medusa helps him up, and that's just kind of it. He was like, what?
Medusa and her titties.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did not mention them.
They were prominent, but like they're always prominent. But they were like, if the wind blows too hard, it's gonna be a problem.
Disco tries for a dive from the apron, but Evan Courageous counters with a drop kick.
The thing that I always notice with the girls in their titty outfits, I am a well-endowed woman. That's not comfortable. That's a really uncomfortable setup those girls have going on. Why are you agreeing to that? Is it really worth it?
Back inside, we get a power slam from Courageous, and then some like random boring chants, which I didn't really get that. Super warranted.
Maybe what I was thinking was maybe it was boring to the audience because it was really entertaining to us because of commentary.
Well, it's also one of those things where, Emily, what's the build for this match?
There is none.
Yeah.
But like it still was not a bad match on its own, and the commentary helped. But without the commentary, I could see how people would not be into this. Which,
relatedly, I think going into some of these matches, I'm going to ask you, what's the build for this match? Just give me the kind of perspective, because I imagine there's some people who like to just listen to our pay-per-view episodes and skip the Nitros. So
I don't understand why they would do that. The Nitros are where all the good content is.
Agreed.
Listen to the Nitros.
Yeah, you want to hear about all the random bullshit.
You want to hear about it.
Yeah, it's the Nitros. You want to just like hear us talk about some matches. Like, okay, weird, but okay.
Sounds fake, but but anyway, I feel like the boring chants could be warranted.
They faded pretty quick. It was like we heard it and then but it just went out. I don't know, but they might have just muted it as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It could be just like crowd muting.
Yeah, Disco gains the advantage, and then he goes to Medusa out on the floor for some reason.
He goes to hit on her.
Right now?
Distract her? The way that it worked out was it distracted Evan enough to get Evan out of the ring and get Disco to have the advantage.
But Disco already had the advantage when he went to the outside.
I was like giving him extra help or something. I don't know.
It was just like, oh, this is a spot in the match, so we have to go do this.
That one didn't offend me. That one made sense to me.
It was the fact that he was on offense and then went, oh, here's this woman mostly minding her own business. Let's go out here now.
Yes, that's such a random thing for men to do. Men would never just bother a woman who's minding her own business.
Not during a wrestling match.
Men will take any opportunity.
So anyway, Medusa slaps Disco. She rejects it. And I guess we didn't mention that on commentary for a lot of this, Tony Marinara keeps commenting about Medusa like, oh, what a spicy tamale or whatever. Maybe bringing in a little bit of Taz into this.
Yeah, I don't think he called her
she's
a
tamale. A tomato, Cole.
Tamale's Mexican. He's Italian.
Whatever. So Tony Marinara goes over, but she rejects him. So Courageous confronts him. Everyone's chatting. Disco slips to the outside, grabs a chair, and goes to hit somebody. I don't know that he really cared between Medusa and Courageous who he hit, but fortunately for him, they all move and he hits Tony Marinara.
The one thing he didn't want to happen.
Disco in storyline is horrified about what he's just done. I mean, rightfully so.
Yeah, he just hit the man who he owes money to.
Yeah. He then gets thrown back in the ring. Courageous hits a springboard crossbody and gets the pin. Ooh. New Cruiserweight champion, Evan Courageous.
That's not going to last long.
And he also has won $25,000, which...
They don't mention at all.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's not going to be paid that considering Disco owes money. Also, I don't know what Disco's annual pay is. We could probably actually look it up, but I think he'd be fine. Just give him a little bit of time. He's probably going to get paid that soon.
True.
I'd be willing to bet significant money that man is making 6 figures a year.
Yeah, at this point still, probably. Get a good little makeout session in the ring, though.
Yeah, Evan Courageous and Medusa they're a little coy at first until they're very much not.
They are not coy.
No, they're like, because I was like, oh, are you being a little, no, you're not.
No,
okay.
I don't think there was anything coy about that.
If you're looking for one of their tongues, it's in the middle of the other one's throat. Disco carries Tony to the back, and I was like, that's an interesting... I feel like I'd run. I wouldn't help the guy to the back.
Well, he knows he's not going to get out of it. He's not going to... If he runs, it's worse. And he's not going to run away fast enough. He's not going to run away from the problem.
I'd still
Tony
run.
knows where Disco's going to be tomorrow night.
Based on how they're framing this, they're like his life hangs in the balance. I think maybe I'd start over.
I don't think you can run that fast. I think Tony would find him. I don't think Tony's working alone either.
Well, he's not.
If I know anything about, Italian mobsters, they don't work alone.
Well, he has Decop de la Copa.
Who?
His dad. Yeah, this was an all right match. It wasn't a negative 1-star match. But
no, I don't understand
Tony
that
Marinara I don't want to call it a cloud, but he hangs over this match.
In a good way. I liked him.
Backstage, Bret Hart arrives. We then go to the room, so I guess as we're still calling it, right?
Didn't we just come up with that last night?
I don't know. You think anything better?
We didn't come up with that on the last podcast.
I said it in jest, and you're like, I like that.
I do like it.
We go to the room, so Jeff Jarrett and Russo argue. Jarrett has until the end of the night to prove himself. Because Russo's
could mean anything.
Russo's like, I gave you a fucking chance. You were supposed to win that match, and you fucked up. So... honestly, that was a shadow of dread in this show for me a little bit because I'm like, fuck. So basically, I just have Jeff Jarrett interference looming in every match now.
Pretty much, and it does.
Yeah. Then you get Mean Gene interviewing Norman Smiley. Norman says he's a consummate professional, but then scared by a noise, and Gene is like, pull yourself together. What the fuck, man?
He's also in full hockey garb.
Yes.
Pads and all.
Yeah, he's wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey.
Thank you.
And some goalie shin guards kind of thing.
Yeah, he's not wearing a mask.
Which we'll get to in a minute. Because our next match is Brian Knobbs with Jimmy Hart versus Screamin' Norman Smiley for the hardcore title.
Which is a cool new belt.
Yeah, in a hardcore match. Better than the shitty trophy that Finley had.
Yeah, no, I like this belt a lot.
Yeah. Jimmy Hart has the cart of weapons with him, and Norman has a mask with him, but it's like a shiny, like, face.
Yeah,
mask.
It's not a hockey mask. It's like a Halloween mask.
Yeah, it was a weird choice.
It doesn't stay on for very long.
No.
It doesn't go on very easily either.
You liked the title?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was...
You don't like the belt?
I thought it was all right. It was all right to passable.
I really liked it.
I think it's the fact that the WWF one has so much character to it that it was just like, this is a belt.
I disagree. I think this one also has some character to it.
I mean, a little bit, but I don't know.
Yeah, the WWF one is, a little bit more rough around the edges. But, I don't know. I think this one's still good, too.
I'd give it a C+, B-, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I still think it looks cool.
Honestly, looking at it again, it has some knockoff ECW vibes.
Which, isn't a bad thing.
The fact that Jimmy Hart's involved really makes me laugh, because I'm like,
yeah.
oh, yeah, discount music, discount title. There you go.
Whatever. I think it's a nice belt.
Yeah. It's not bad. So we were talking about Norman's mask. Knobbs pulls it off almost immediately. Like,
yeah,
that's it.
So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Hits multiple trash can shots and multiple trash can lid shots. They really love those trash can lids.
Well, they make a good noise.
They really do. Norman screams through a lot of this. Knobbs goes for a diving trash can shot but misses, and Jimmy Hart goes to throw a trash can into the ring for Brian Knobbs, but Norman Smiley catches it and hits Knobbs over the head. He then puts the can over Knobbs' head and uses a hockey stick to hit Knobbs multiple times. And then we get a big wiggle, like 2 Knobbs. Knobbs is having none of it. He's like, no, and just beats the shit out of Norman for a minute.
Wasn't he still in the can when he gets the big wiggle?
I think he either slips out of the can in the middle of it or he was out of the can by then. Knobbs takes the padding off of Norman in a spot.
No, he doesn't.
In a spot that takes a fucking while.
He cannot get those pads off.
Yeah.
It takes... You can't even say that he gets the pads off in this move because there's 2 other moves that happen and then he kind of gets one off.
He takes the padding off and then it takes slow, so they have to do a move and then it's like, okay, well now he's taking the pad off. Norman kind of counters after one of them is taken off and goes after Jimmy Hart, but Knobbs throws a trash can to ringside, headshots Norman with it. I always love those, just the throwing weapon shots.
Oh, yeah, with Jimmy throwing it into the ring. I love that.
No, the opposite. When someone throws a weapon as opposed to swinging it, I always love that. I think back to when we did ECW Barely Legal and Sandman just throwing shit into the ring and every time it hit fucking Terry Funk. Classic. We get repeated lid shots to Norman and then they brawl up the ramp and there's a weird point where Nick Patrick comes straight over to Brian Knobbs and clearly talks to him, and I'm like, I don't know what you told him. It was so
maybe it was a time check.
But he just suddenly confronted him and just clearly said something, and I'm like, I don't know what that was, but okay. They brawl backstage with various weapon shots, just kind of trading. Norman gets thrown through a table set up against a wall, and
well, he sets up the table and he breaks it himself in the process. He rips the metal, the ribbing of the table. He rips that off while he's setting up the table.
So the silly action continues. Jimmy gives Knobbs a crutch who breaks it over Norman, and the crowd does pop every time Norman screams.
I mean, it's a good scream.
They then brawl towards a food area, and Jimmy Hart gets on a ladder and is just throwing soup cans at Norman Smiley. This feels
It's very
dangerous.
Donkey Kong-esque.
I wish we had episode art because I would want to see that.
8-bit Jimmy Hart as Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
But no, they were in a concession storage room, so that was probably beans for nachos or something.
I did find it funny because I think earlier in the night before we watched this, we watched the Steve Austin Booker T Supermarket segment, and I'm just
what a classic match.
I'm throwing food around the way to win Emily's heart.
It's so good. I love that match so much. I love it.
In a spot I liked, they call for the freight elevator, and they brawl in the elevator.
The doors close.
So the doors close, and we're like, are they going to go somewhere else? And oh, no, the door just opens. I don't know how it would have happened, but I really wanted there to somehow be a third person when the doors opened. Instead, the doors open, Jimmy Hart swings, and he assumes he's hitting Norman. He actually hits Knobbs. Norman gets the pin and has won the hardcore title.
Woo!
Brian Knobbs is mad about this, throws both Norman and Jimmy Hart into a thing of buns. And that's it. But yeah, new hardcore champion, Norman Smiley, kind of lost in the end of that.
Yeah, But I mean, it's not unexpected. The way they've been building him, like, of course he's going to be the hardcore champion.
Yeah, it's what I wish he kind of had a little bit more of a moment. But this was all right. It's a little less fun than some of the Norman stuff more recently, but it was, It
was good.
It was some trash brawling. It was, it's fine. I like Norman as the hardcore champion. I think some of it is just that I'm not as into Brian Knobbs.
Oh, I'm not in Brian Knobbs at all.
Yeah, I feel like Brian Knobbs...
I'm tired of him. I want him to be gone.
...wasn't willing to have as much fun with it as some other people would.
No, he doesn't want to have fun. He's not fun to watch. He doesn't want to have fun in the ring. Everything's very serious with Brian. I don't like watching him.
He just wants to be nasty.
I don't care. Go away. Get back to ECW.
I feel like they weren't in ECW all that long.
Well, maybe there's a reason. I don't think he comes to WWF.
No, he goes to TNA.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons.
Well, actually, he and Jimmy Hart do the XWF, and then eventually he'll turn up for a good bit of Hogan Knows Best.
Either way, not fun to watch. Don't like Brian. He can leave.
We go from that to a Revolution Filthy Animals hype package. And then Mike Tenay interviews the Revolution about the what ifs of tonight. What if it just ends up with Tori? What if it does this? And then Shane Douglas answers.
Calls Tori a Barbie doll wannabe about 6 times.
Dean Malenko answers. But Dean Malenko gets interrupted by Perry Saturn. And Perry Saturn just starts going off about the fucking dinosaurs.
What if the dinosaurs were still alive?
I thought it was...
What if the dinosaurs were still alive and they'd be crapping everywhere?
And it's I know we eradicated the dinosaurs, and you're thinking, wait, didn't the comet do it? It's but what if? And I'm like, wait, what? He just goes on a whole fucking random, this is Perry Saturn and Moppy before that was a fucking thing.
I know, and I think that I think I judged him too harshly with Moppy in WWF because this is fun. This is charming. I kind of love Perry Saturn.
Well, it also helps that Shane Douglas, Asia, and Dean Malenko are all looking at him what the fuck are you talking about? No one else is on board with this.
This is something that he has been thinking about for a long time, and he finally got an outlet to say it.
Yeah. They go to Gene interviewing the Filthy Animals, and I think this is probably borders on Emily's best bit of the night.
This whole, the Tenay interview and the Mean Gene interview, these are both great.
Because you love it so much, I'll let you describe
I have
the
no
opening
idea
part
what
of
the
this.
hell the Filthy Animals were talking about.
No, just the first bit. That's all I care about here.
But Mean Gene asks something of Conan, and Conan just looks at him and he's like, what is it tonight, the hat or the belt? And without skipping a beat, Gene is just like, the hat. And so Conan says, feel it, that's enough. It was so expected. I love that. Gene had an answer.
Gene's a fucking professional. He
knows. Obviously.
He
He did not even think about it for a second. He's like, the second I get an opportunity to touch that hat, I'm going to touch that fucking hat.
I think it was, Gene's felt the title belt before. Like, shit, that hat looks cozy. I need to feel that.
Which is it? The belt or the hat? The hat. Feel. That's enough.
Tori basically isn't worrying too much about the match for some reason.
I guess we'll never know why.
We then actually get the match. It's the Revolution consisting of Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Asia versus the Filthy Animals consisting of Billy Kidman, Eddie Guerrero, and Tori Wilson in an elimination 6-person tag match.
So I have a conspiracy with Tori's outfit.
Oh, yes.
Any millennial girl knows what I'm talking about when I talk about the Britney Spears Oops, I Did It Again jumpsuit. The bright red leather
I could
jumpsuit.
be wrong. I feel like this is not the first time this outfit's come up
Probably
on the podcast.
not, because it's iconic. That music video and the song came out in the year 2000. Tori comes to the ring wearing bright red leather pants and a bright red leather top with red leather gloves. You're telling me that Britney Spears didn't watch this and be like, that. Britney Spears watched Tori Wilson and got the inspiration.
You're saying Tori Wilson walks so Britney Spears could run?
Literally, yes. This outfit, in this instance, at least alone, there is a connection here. There can't not be. The timing is too close. It's too iconic. Like, come on.
So the match starts, and within the first 30 seconds, the Filthy Animals just punch Asia right in the face. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's how we're going to treat this. Okay, cool.
Feminism. Everybody's equal.
They clean house, and then Eddie and Dean start. Perry Saturn tags in, hits a springboard moonsault onto Eddie and Dean. And I'm like, okay, you hit your own partner there. Kind of weird. And then Kidman dives onto just Saturn. And I'm like, there you go. Smart man.
Well, if I may be so bold as to make a Pokemon reference, It's like when you have to do a doubles match and the only move that you have that'll do any kind of damage on another one is one that'll affect all three of the other people in the match, which includes your partner. But you know that your partner can take a little bit of that damage and be fine. So you do the super effective move on your opponent when your partner can only take just like a little bit of damage. It'll still hit them.
See, you earn more credit if you could think of a flying type move that had this. 'Cause I'm thinking of Earthquake, but I'm
Bulldoze is what I'm thinking of.
No, Bulldoze doesn't hit both partners.
Yeah, it does.
Does it? Oh.
Yeah.
Wait.
I know this because I just fought that gym.
Wait, it hits your partner too?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, I guess it is discount Earthquake, so that makes sense, but...
I'm just saying, sometimes your partner has to take a little bit of damage so your opponent can take a lot.
He hit them both evenly.
Shut up.
There's no type advantage in WCW.
Oh, there's not? So why are you making Pokemon references every week?
I don't think I have any for this show.
Oh, good. I'm glad I got one in then.
Actually, that might be a lie. We'll see. Actually, I'm thinking of what I can make later, so we're good. We then get a weird moment of Dean Malenko on the outside, where like a fan kind of touches him, and Dean's like, "What the fuck?" And then the fan jabs him with the flag.
Yeah, I can do the play-by-play for this of what happened.
Yeah, you should go ahead.
So Dean's on the outside. A fan is in the front row with a Canadian flag. He's like got the face paint, the Maple Leaf jersey, waving the flag. The flag brushes against Dean. Dean freaks out, looks at him, doesn't really like say anything, just kind of turns and looks at him. And then the fan kind of says something that gets Dean to say something back and fire him up. And the guy with the flag jabs the flag at Dean, which gets Dean, angry. And then security comes out and carts the guy with the flag away.
On a weird delay, I did note. This will come up later.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I'm mad about it.
I don't know if this person's a plant or an inspiration, admittedly.
Oh, plant. 100%. Based on later, plant. 100%. 100% plant. Won't even hear inspiration. No way.
I don't know. It's such an elaborate ruse later that I'm like, yeah?
No, plant. They planned this.
Okay.
I thought it was authentic when I saw this at the first time.
I'm saying in kayfabe. Did Dean Malenko...
Oh, you're talking about kayfabe?
Did Dean Malenko plant this person or did he get inspired?
Oh, kayfabe inspiration.
Kayfabe. Okay.
I thought you meant WCW on the fly.
No.
I was this fan, let's recreate him an hour and a half later.
I meant in kayfabe. I'm like, did
kayfabe
Dean Malenko get inspired,
yes.
or did he plant this guy early?
I think it's inspiration.
I don't know that we'll ever get an answer, but I'll hear either argument. We then get Tori and Asia fighting the ring for a minute. We get a sky high from Kidman to Asia. Tori has apparently hurt her ankle, so kind of rolls out to ringside.
It makes sense. All she does is wear 6-inch heels.
Kidman goes to check on her. Eddie then kind of goes no, you go wrestle, I'll check on her. Kidman gets rolled up and pinned and eliminated, and then he's pissed off at Eddie Guerrero.
Well, he doesn't just... Eddie shoves Kidman. Eddie's in the corner tending to Tori. Kidman comes over to check on Tori. Eddie shoves Kidman back into the match, kind of catches him off of his feet. He rolls back, gets into the pin, and he loses. So yeah, I'd be pissed too. It's my girlfriend. Fuck off, Eddie.
So they're down to 3-on-2, but it's pretty much 3-on-1 considering 1, it's Tori Wilson, 2, she hurt her ankle.
Right.
The crowd does get behind Eddie during this. We get a diving knee and a backbreaker combo to Eddie. And then we get Conan walking out for some reason.
Yeah, why did he leave? I don't understand that.
I'm like, okay, he's going to come back. I feel
No, he never did.
His commentary's like, oh, he's just walking out on his team. That's weird. And I'm like, okay, he's going to I know Ray is actually hurt, but he's going to bring back Ray or something. And no, Conan just abandons him.
He's done. He's going to go see what's still at the crafty table.
Asia hits a pretty nice stalling suplex on Eddie, and I think we continue to be impressed by Asia.
She really has gotten significantly better.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate there's no women's division in WCW, because I'm like, I wonder.
I'd love to see Asia versus Midnight. That'd be a crazy match.
Mm-hmm.
Midnight gets better.
We then get Eddie and Dean wrestling for a little bit, and Eddie pins Dean with a Hurricane Rana, but Perry immediately rushes the ring and keeps working over Eddie. It's all right, you made a little bit of progress, but you're still down. You get a T-bone suplex to Eddie, and Tori is just on the floor watching, not even on the apron.
No. She's in even commentary points out, she's in a manager position.
Asia gets a lot of offense in this. They are putting her over, and again, wish there was a women's division, because I'm like, what are you putting her over for?
Yeah, there is really no reason.
What is the end game with Asia? I want there to be something. I just don't think there is.
I can't see what it would be, because the only other woman that they're kind of pushing as a quote unquote wrestler aside from Midnight is Kimberly. But I think we've seen Kimberly versus Asia before, haven't we? That feels like something we've seen.
Yeah, that was
in like a tag or something.
No, that was literally last episode.
Was it? Okay.
I mean, I know at least one woman eventually enters the cruiserweight title, but I don't see. I don't know. I am kind of curious to see what they end up doing with her, because I don't know where else she ends up in the world of wrestling.
Yeah, again, I know she's not in WWF.
Yeah.
I wonder if she goes back to like bodybuilding.
Potentially. So we get a spot of Asia holding up Eddie Guerrero for Saturn to kick. But, you know, would you believe it? It's the one thing they didn't want to happen. And Perry
We've had 4 matches. This has happened in 3 of them.
Saturn hits a super kick on Asia. Eddie dumps him to the floor, hits a frog splash on Asia, and then pins Asia. And it's down to technically 2-on-1.
Technically. It's technically Eddie and Tori versus Perry.
This is where things slow down quite a bit. They trade some sleepers. Eddie counters a springboard crossbody with a drop kick, and then Eddie hits a tornado DDT. Saturn hits a Death Valley driver, but Eddie Guerrero kicks out. I guess we didn't note that Shane Douglas was on commentary for this, because he starts screaming at this point. He's on commentary for basically all the Revolution matches because he's still hurt. He
is good on commentary. I just don't really have any note for him on this one.
He's good. I feel like he's kind of hitting diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's just the same thing. You're just yelling every week.
Yeah,
like, first of all, you're shouting. Eddie's still down after kicking out. Perry tries for a diving elbow but misses. Eddie crawls over the corner to make a tag and is just has that moment of, fuck, I can't tag out.
Yeah. You can see it on his face. It was good acting.
Yeah. Like, really good bit of, like, in-ring psychology of just, like, if you're in a tag match, like, you still have a partner. Just that exasperated, damn it.
I need a break, but I can't have a break.
Because he also kind of, like, he does, like, pantomime to her, like, no. It's fine. It's fine. I guess I can keep fucking going. It's fine. We then get a Hurricane Rana from him. Eddie hits a diving crossbody, but Perry rolls through and locks in the rings of Saturn in a really smooth fucking move.
There have been a lot of really smooth counters.
I feel like mostly into submissions.
Yeah, but it's been good.
Oh,
lately.
no, I'm enjoying it.
There have been multiple.
So Eddie taps out of the rings of Saturn, and we're down to Tori Wilson versus Perry Saturn.
Dun, dun, dun. This was never going to go well.
Yeah, well, I actually love the end of this match.
Yeah.
Tori Wilson low blows Perry Saturn and almost pins him, and it's like, holy shit, oh.
That would have been great, but it wouldn't have really made sense.
And then Shane Douglas gets to the apron to distract the ref, and like a little fucking bitch, Perry Saturn low blows Tori Wilson and pins her. It's like, you couldn't even use a wrestling move. You fucking low blow. What a little asshole.
Fire with fire. She low blowed him, he low blows her. And then commentary had the fucking gall to be like, oh, I can't imagine that hurt her as much as it hurts him. Like,
well, that's just wrestling.
To my ladies out there, when we get kicked in the crotch, does it not hurt? It's still a fucking bone. You're kicking a bone.
Listen,
we also have nerves down there that can feel pain.
Listen, I don't want to give them credit for 1999 levels of restraint, but we are in the era of masculine women getting low blown, and they're like, oh, I bet she has a fucking penis down there, doesn't she? It's like,
oh god,
yeah, like trying to get low blowed. There is some salacious commentary.
Well,
about
there was
that.
all kinds of commentary around Asia being trans, which like stupid.
I think. Well, in this match?
No, in 1999.
Oh, okay, yeah.
1996.
Wait, did you mean? You meant
I did mean China. I did what you did. I mean, there was a lot of commentary about or around China being trans in the 90s,
Yeah.
Before trans was, a common thing that was talked about.
Yeah, so Perry Saturn wins by low blowing Tori. It's one of those where, like, it's designed to be a shit finish, and I liked it because of that.
Yeah.
Because, listen, option B is Perry Saturn works over Tori Wilson for 5 minutes, hits the Death Valley driver, locks her in the rings of Saturn. She's screaming for her life. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take him being a little asshole over that.
Yeah, I guess.
Also because I feel like this makes the Revolution hypocrites of like, they're all like, oh, we're about wrestling and making a change. And you beat this non-wrestler with a low blow. It's like, oh.
Come on.
I got a kick out of it.
It was a good match. I thought it was fun.
Oh, yeah, the match itself, crowd was behind Eddie Guerrero. And
again, like there haven't been any stinker matches yet.
Yeah.
They've been fine. They've been incredibly passable. Not negative stars.
No. Emily, can I break your heart?
You do every day of my life.
The Nitro after this is our last Eddie Guerrero match.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't know why.
He doesn't make it to 2000?
I don't know. He might make it as a character. I don't know what happens with him.
That's a bummer.
I just know, like, per, like, wrestling match databases, this upcoming week is his last match.
That sucks. That's tomorrow in the timeline for these guys.
Yeah.
Damn. That sucks.
Radicals are about to leave.
What's going to fill that spot?
Baby, it's going to be our backstage segment coming up. Backstage, Jeff Jarrett and Creative Control beat down Buff Bagwell. You ready for a whole lot of Buff?
He is the stuff.
Is he, though? I did get a little hope where I'm like, oh, that's going to be all Jeff Jarrett does. And now I'm like second guessing. I'm like, is that all he does?
No, he comes out like 3 more times, dude.
But let's go to Buff's match. It's Buff Bagwell versus Kurt Hennig in a loser must hang up his boots match, which something about this just screamed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Especially after last week's, if I get pinned, I retire.
I feel like this should be a segment on Nitro where Kurt Hennig's going to have some boots hung up on the wall.
Yeah.
Like, I got new boots.
Exactly. Because they keep saying he has to hang up. They never say retire. They say hang up his boots 1,000,000 fucking times.
We do get a recap of Kurt Hennig's shenanigans of not getting retired. Buff's music starts and then stops. Pause. Music hits again. Jeff Jarrett then comes out instead.
Hey. There's ya boy.
And I don't get it. Because they get in the ring to like come beat up Kurt Hennig. And I'm like, so Jarrett's plan is I'm going to derail the whole show.
But the bell rings.
Yes. Because Hennig hits Creative Control as they come in. The bell rings.
So it's fine.
Yeah. Buff then comes out with a 2x4 and the heels bail. And I'm like...
So clearly he wasn't that beat down because he ran down pretty fine like 30 seconds later.
I'm like, okay, I guess we're not doing that match. And then Hennig hits Buff and the ref is like, all right, cool, a match. And I'm like, wait, so what did you ring the bell for?
I don't know, man.
Hennig, in a very common spot in this match, Hennig chokes Buff with the chain around his neck.
Yeah, like, it's a lot of necklace-based offense.
They brawl around ringside. They almost go back in, but then they don't. Get a low blow from Hennig. I'm like, DQ?
No.
More ringside brawling. They really don't want to do anything in out. Buff pulls Hennig onto the rope and gains control. Yeah, we slow things down for quite a bit. We get 2 arm drops from Buff, but would you believe it, on the third one, he powers up.
Can't believe it.
Except, nope, they keep it in rest holds. He does not get fired up. I figured, okay, cool, we're done with that. And then, no, right back to it. I'm like, why? Holy crap. You guys didn't do anything. Big chop to Buff, scoop slam and an elbow. We then get a scoop slam from Buff, do a little dance, make a little love, but missed the knee drop tonight.
Good one.
I did write this match is going too long.
This is definitely the least interesting match so far.
I didn't think both these guys were going to get gassed all that quickly, although you did note, I don't know, maybe that roid belly is slowing down his gas tank.
It was not as prominent this week, so I think that he took all of his steroids last Monday, and they're starting to wear down, so he needs another hit tomorrow night. I don't know how steroids work.
I think you're really...
How often is the dosage?
I think you're just thinking this like fucking Bane Venom. Just
I don't know.
Ugh.
I don't know how these drug things work. How do you do, fellow kids?
So the end of this match is extremely sloppy because Hennig keeps throwing Buff into the corner and running at him and doing a half-assed attack because Buff is supposed to get his foot up on one of these.
Yeah.
And it takes him like 3 or 4 fucking tries. He eventually gets his foot up and then hits the blockbuster from the corner and pins Kurt Hennig. I did write, damn it, 0 out of 10, but mostly because Buff didn't retire, but I don't know. This match wasn't good, but it wasn't, you know.
What broke my heart is the crowd gave Kurt Hennig a standing ovation.
Oh, yeah.
As if he was walking out and retiring. They were giving him an ovation that they would give someone who just had their last match.
Yeah.
I know that it wasn't his last match, and that just feels really inauthentic.
Yeah, he soaks in the crowd. You can see him at least fake tear up. Maybe
fucking shitty.
Maybe really tear up a little bit. Just like, you know, it's one of those, even if you're in a fake retirement, it is nice to know that, like...
You like me. You really like me.
Yeah, exactly, basically. Yeah, this match was... Yeah, I don't know how long it went, but I felt like it was 5 minutes too long.
Far too long. Really uninteresting. Stupid.
Yeah, I almost wonder if someone, like, edited a version of this where they cut out the, like, 3 or 4 minutes of rest holds, is this a better match?
Maybe. Doubtful.
Then you go backstage. Mike Tenay interviews Sting.
So Mike Tenay has some really hard-hitting questions for Sting in this.
Yes, you locked in on this, I remember.
Because this is a joke that my father and I have about something else. Mike Tenay said to Sting, "You have a really great strategy tonight. To win." Basically, that's the meat and potatoes of what he said.
Tenay says to Sting, "Yeah, if you beat Bret Hart in this match, you'll face Chris Benoit for the world title."
Cool. But it was like, yeah, you got a really great strategy. If you beat him, you get the world title. Like, that's not the strategy. That's just what a match is.
So Sting does have a response here. He notes that he actually, I never lost the title. Or at least still should be the champion. Which, again, fair. He also notes that it's still showtime despite being on Bret's home turf. Which brings us into Bret Hart versus Sting for our last semifinals match in the WCW title tournament. Bret Hart comes out in a Wayne Gretzky Canada jersey to a really fucking big pop. They love Bret
obviously.
here. Yeah.
We're in Toronto, of course.
Sting is in different gear.
You think that he lost his suitcase.
That's what I thought. When I was reading something, it was like, oh, he's self-conscious about his body, so he's wearing a tank top. But he's wearing a tank top and like leather pants. I don't know. It's a weird look. It's not a good look.
It's not. It's a phone it in look.
Yeah, I mean, one, the tank top being a merch tank top of Sting's face doesn't really help. I don't mind leather pants as much. It just kind of looks weird on him.
Oh, what kind of pants are his normal pants? I thought they were leather with like...
No, he wears a long singlet.
Yeah, but I thought it was kind of leathery.
The two shove each other into the corner, and then they go nose to nose and push each other again. And
you telling me there's a lot of corner work in this match?
I don't know if it's your favorite spot or your least favorite spot, because you always want them to kiss.
Oh, when they go nose to nose, every time I say no kiss.
Bret hits punches and headbutts and dumps Sting to the floor. Then a back inside. Bret hits a headbutt to the stomach. Tony and Bobby chat about the similar finishers. They're like, oh, it's the same. And I'm like...
No, it's totally different. It's the Scorpion Deathlock versus the Sharpshooter. Obviously different.
It's the same, but they are actually different.
Really?
It has to do with what leg...
Who cares?
Bret gets thrown into the corner, but bounces off and knocks Sting down. We get a very blatant low blow from Sting. Like, one of the more blatant ones in a long while. And...
Does not equal DQ, though.
DQ?
Nope. Not today.
Sting hits a scoop slam and a jumping elbow drop. They brawl around ringside. Sting crashes onto the announce table as they brawl around. Back inside, Bret gets his feet up in the corner and goes up top. But Bret pulls the referee in the way of a diving attack. And then we get Lex Luger and Liz running out.
Oh, thank God. That's what this match was missing.
Luger hits Sting with a baseball bat. Bret is not a fan of this and low blows Luger, puts him in the sharpshooter. Referee comes to with Bret Hart having Lex Luger in the sharpshooter, calls for the bell.
Yeah, what?
I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, yeah, due to outside interference, Bret Hart has won by DQ. I wasn't totally following the logic there. Yeah, Bret's not thrilled about this. And I was actually a little relieved. They're like, okay, per Bret Hart's request, this match will keep going. And I know that's not a shoot, but in my brain, I'm like, I know Bret felt that in his bones of like, can we just do a clean fucking finish?
Can we have a good goddamn match?
So the match keeps going, but Sting's knee is damaged. Bret hits a Russian leg sweep, backbreaker, Bret's front elbow drop, but it's countered. We have Scorpion Deathlock to Bret, but Bret grabs the ankle and counters it into the sharpshooter and gets the win.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like these submission counters into submissions.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Post-match, Sting tells Bret to come back from celebrating, and they do the shake of hands, like, thanks for doing it the right way. Like,
good game.
Like, yeah, you
might as well slap each other's butts.
You really should.
And kiss.
I thought the finish of this was great, but the match itself was only okay.
I agree. It was a Bret Hart match.
Oh, that makes me sad.
I mean, he's good, and this is weird. I was talking to you about this in the kitchen earlier. He's good, and I can acknowledge that Bret Hart is good. But the thing that I love about this podcast and why we've chosen to do this podcast and watch these shows is for the inherent silliness. So, unfortunately, when a good match happens, I tend to tune it out.
The funny thing is, I know you love him. I'm now worried for when Lance Storm turns up in WCW.
I like his promos. I don't pay attention to his matches.
I can be serious.
I know he's good. I don't care. I want to watch bad matches. especially when I have to talk about them. I will watch good matches and just like sit and watch them. Like they have my attention. But if I have to like sit here and talk about it and like regurgitate it, I remember it better when it's bad.
Yeah, and I think there is a threshold to where a match is good and you don't have much to say versus there's a point where the match becomes great and all of a sudden you are like gung-ho to talk about it.
That's true.
And this did not hit that
level. This
was
good.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was a match. No one was hurt. Everything was passable. I can acknowledge that this was a good match.
Sting's leg was hurt by the baseball bat. What are you talking about?
Sting is a good wrestler. Bret Hart is a good wrestler. The end.
I would say, have you finally, I don't want to say forgive, have you finally moved past your Sting anger?
I don't know. Sting just kind of has started to annoy me as a character. I'm kind of turning on him in that way.
Oh, you have a complicated relationship with Sting.
I really do. I really don't like Lex Luger. I know I'm not supposed to, but oh my, you know who else I don't like? I'm sorry, we'll talk about this later more. I am so fucking over Miss Elizabeth. She is the worst character on this roster. She has no personality. She doesn't do anything fun or anything, like, she doesn't wrestle. She just stands there. She's just like, she's nothing. What does she bring to the table? Literally nothing.
What have you done with your opportunities, Miss Elizabeth?
Nothing. Over her. I want her to leave.
Fired.
I feel like the only reason she's here is because of her connection with Randy Savage, and like,
which isn't even a connection anymore. They are
no,
divorced.
But they have decided that Miss Elizabeth is wrestling royalty, and they won't let her go, and she's just there. Why is she there? What does she bring to the table? I don't know what it was about this episode, but I just got really fed up with Miss Elizabeth.
I think I might have planted the seeds for this last episode because
Did you?
I kind of had a similar moment of like,
why the fuck is she here?
I say it, probably a contract.
God.
But so backstage, Mean Gene interviews Chris Benoit. Benoit says he's waited for this chance to, wrestle for the title in main event for 14 years, and it's an absolute honor to face Bret for the title. They get Mike today interviewing Lex Luger in a neck brace.
Claims he can't compete, of course.
Yeah, I barely even caught Bret hitting him with the baseball bat, literally anywhere around the neck or spine. But I mean, it's bullshit. So I was like, I don't even feel the need to rewind to go look.
No, it's all bullshit. It's clever bullshit, though. I will give him that.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to wrestle tonight. I did laugh at his line of I will write a personal check to every disappointed Lex Luger fan. I'm like, aha, there's check. None of them. You know you don't have to write one because nobody likes you.
Yeah, you don't have any fans, so they can't be disappointed fans if you don't have any fans.
So we will get more of, I guess, Benoit and Luger later tonight, but separately. We then go to our chain match, kind of? No. Not really. It's Vampiro with Jerry
who
only.
Is it?
I'm not doing it. I'm not willing to entertain this.
Vampiro
versus Berlin with the Wall.
Fucking kill me.
Vampiro has a new theme, and the reason I'm going to get that fucking voice is because basically immediately, goddamn Oklahoma and Steve Williams comes out, and
he's so annoying.
I want to like and respect Steve Williams, but I
don't. He's another one. I don't understand what he brings to the table. Why is he here?
Yeah, no, he's here because he's friends with Jim Ross, and they want to mock Jim Ross. You're
not doing anything, though. Steve Williams is just standing there.
I don't have it in me to look up if Steve Williams ever actually wrestles a match in WCW. I want to experience it organically, but I'm almost wondering, are you gonna?
I don't know, man.
So, this is a chain match, but it's really more of a dog collar match?
Yeah.
The chain itself is, pretty thin, and they have the dog collars on, and, I don't know what I thought. But they never
get connected to each other.
That's a different problem.
Berlin and Vampiro never connect.
Yeah, because Vampiro puts his end on, and then everyone brawls. Berlin bumps the ref. The Wall fights with Vampiro as Berlin ties Jerry Only to the barricade. By the way, Jerry Only is one of the misfits. We should note. Because
I was wondering, where that name came from.
Oh, I think that's his, shoot name.
Weird last name. Where does that one come from, I wonder?
I don't know. It's only his.
Ha ha! Sorry.
Berlin gets back in the ring and attacks Vampiro. And then he tells the Wall, no, you put on the collar.
And he does.
Yeah.
Why?
So I don't have a quote for it here, but I did write, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up.
Literally. I have Oklahoma is so fucking annoying.
We then get a choke slam from the Wall, pin attempt, but Berlin stops it. What is this match? The Wall then takes the collar off, walks out. Vampiro hits a spin kick, then a superplex. They try for a double suplex with Vampiro and Jerry Only, but he doesn't know how to do the move, and it's like, oh God, no, I don't. Like, he doesn't get the lift, and it just looks dangerous. You can
tell
that
he doesn't have the strength in his legs either. They like start to shake, and he gives out a little early.
Well, he would, but the problem is he doesn't put the arm over, so you can't use any of your like back and shoulders. No. It's just your like arms, basically. Vampiro. And I think Vampiro was like, "There's two of us, okay, so I need to like not just do this myself, and because like if I do it myself, it's gonna like separate and look like shit." So I think really Jerry Only is the only one to blame there.
Get it? Only.
We then get a nail in the coffin from Vampiro, and then a camel clutch. Using the chain, Berlin gives up. Vampiro wins. Steve Williams comes in, beats up the Misfit and Vampiro. I fucking hate Oklahoma. I cannot wait for this gimmick to die.
Does it?
I mean, they get fired at some point. I mean, twice. But admittedly, I think like a lot of people, I only knew about the Pinata on a pole match.
You didn't know about anything else?
I didn't know this keeps going.
Oh, no.
And so I have no idea how long it goes. I know you like me being a source of spoilers. I don't have them for you here, Emily.
I will say that the screaming Vampiro has been in my head ever since we watched this match. Like every couple of minutes, I'll just yell to myself, Vampiro! I don't know why. It's in my head. If
we ever go to a party, there's a pinata, I worry for you. I just worry for you because I feel like you're going to take it down and then just start randomly holding it up throughout the party. I'm like, Emily, what are you doing? No, like, it's up.
Do your move. I'm going to get it.
This match was one of the 4 to get negative stars.
See, that makes sense. That's fine. This can have negative stars.
And I feel like it has nothing to do with the match itself.
No, it's the commentary. I couldn't tell you jack shit about the match itself.
Actually, it's funny. I'm looking up the ratings on Pro Fight Database. They actually list it as a dog collar match.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's advertised as a chain match.
Well, let's move from one negative 1-star match to the next.
Really?
Although, actually, hold on. We have a couple segments in between.
Yeah.
We get Mike Tenay interviewing Scott Hall. And remember how it was going to be Scott Hall versus Rick Steiner for, I guess, both titles on the line?
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that. Scott Hall is now a double champion.
Scott Hall is Becky Two Belts.
So he fucks up his own catchphrase here. He's like, all right, I'll wrestle anybody out there. And Mike Tenay's like, out where? And he's like, down here. It's like, no, that doesn't work.
What?
So, but basically he has an open challenge set for later. Which I'm like, okay, I'm curious who you're going to have.
You were expecting this to be like Lash LaRue.
Honestly, the top 2 things in my brain were Lash LaRue or Jeff Jarrett. I was worried about
Jeff Jarrett would have made sense, to be honest.
Yeah.
Spoiler, it's not either of them.
No. We then get Kurt Hennig leaving.
Cool.
Kind of saying some final goodbyes. We get Kimberly arriving, and I'm like, bitch, it is like way too far into the show.
Halfway into the show.
Like, you don't know when your match is. What if your match was first?
Maybe
be a shit open to the pay-per-view, but you'd be fucked. Actually, maybe not. Maybe, I mean, she loses by forfeit. Oh, no.
Darn.
But yeah, let's go to that negative 1-star match. It is the total package with Miss Elizabeth. Okay, I don't know if this becomes a thing, but I saw a note on the Observer Rewind where it's like, there's a chance that Miss Elizabeth, you know how Lex is the total package? Mm-hmm. She's going to be called the hot package.
Ew.
Which, like, it's not even wordplay.
This is the match where I made my note about Elizabeth. I said, Elizabeth has to be the most boring female character that wrestling has ever written.
But yeah, it's total package with Elizabeth versus Meng.
So I'm going to give Lex some creative credit here.
Oh?
It is clever. I'm going to give him some clever credit. He comes out in his neck brace, and he starts the match in the neck brace. I was like, whoa, I can't have my neck brace. And I thought about it, and commentary also noted it.
Well,
Meng's finishing move is the Tongan death grip, where he has to grab the neck. If he's wearing a neck brace, he can't get the death grip. It's clever.
Well, here's the problem, is that commentary doesn't note that until about 15 seconds before they go for that spot. I think they were cued in to talk about it.
Well, it was clever. Yeah. I'll take it.
Luger comes out in the neck brace. We do get a story recap once Luger's in the ring.
Yeah, why?
You know, he's in the neck brace. I'm like, okay, this won't be a match. Bell just rings. I'm like, I know he's faking, but still.
Oh, Meng does not give 2 shits.
Meng strips Lex. Sexy.
Hot. So why the fuck fuck was Elizabeth even there? She's not even doing the tearaway clothes bit. She's fucking useless.
Is that what it was? You saw Meng could do it just as well? And you're like, ah.
But she's also like standing at ringside as like a quote unquote manager doing literally nothing. I don't think her face moves like once.
So, Emily, I lied to you.
You do that a lot.
Meng works over Lex until Lex pokes him in the eye and hits a suplex. It's not very effective, though, much like using Scratch on an Onyx.
I knew you had one.
We go outside and brawl for a little bit. We go back inside. Meng goes for the tongue and death grip, but the brace protects Luger, much like using the move Protect.
So here's the thing. We stopped watching together around this point. So these notes from Nick moving forward are from like 2 o'clock in the morning.
No.
So they're going to get pretty unhinged.
Only the main event ones are. It's only the end, although...
You're unhinged.
Although it was one of those where I did make it past your breaking point, so, take that as you will. I did kind of bust out laughing to myself because Luger gets choked in the corner and just literally yells, "Help!" Bad power slam from Luger, and he slams Meng into the corners, which just seems to piss Meng off more than anything. He does the head smash, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing, sir? Headbutts from Meng, followed by a thrust kick. Liz goes to spray Meng with something.
Oh my god.
But it takes forever, so Meng just pulls Luger in the
Also,
way.
what the fuck is this?
I
It's
don't
like
know.
a flashlight that sprays something out of the bottom of it.
I don't know.
What is this? It's not mace. It's not perfume. Is it just like water vapor? What the fuck?
Is she just vaping in people's faces?
It's 1999. They haven't invented that yet.
What is she, Big Show at the Hall of Fame?
Ugh.
Meng removes the neck brace, then hits a tongue and death grip and wins. It was all right. I don't think it was a negative 1-star match. It was fine.
Unnecessary. I'll give him the creative credit.
Yeah.
That's all you're getting, though.
We go backstage. Mean Gene interviews Bret Hart. Bret says he considers Benoit a friend, and then it's like cutting a promo and it's just interrupted by Lex Luger in the background going, "Where's Liz?"
It was kind of funny.
It kind of rattles Bret. We're like trying to do a fucking promo here.
It was kind of funny.
Somewhere else backstage, David Flair rubs his crowbar, which is not a double entendre.
It was very phallic, though.
Yeah. Then we get Scott Hall with an open challenge for apparently both the U.S. and TV title.
Yeah, why would he give up both? Why?
I did have a theory when I was a little confused about whether both titles were on the line or just one. I had a third contender enter my brain.
Oh, who's that?
I thought it was going to be Kevin Nash.
I thought that for a second when he was like, Big Kev is on his way. I'm like, nah.
No, I was thinking finger poke. Here's a free title for you. If it was just one on the line.
If it was just one, yeah.
I got worried there for a minute. I'm like, okay. We get a big pop for the hey-yo.
Hell. Because it's not hey yo. It's hell.
Yeah, Hall says that Nash is on his way here. I wrote doubt, but yeah. They're going to party later. And then one of those catchphrases that doesn't really ever work. The don't sing it.
Bring it.
And then we get Booker T's music hitting.
Which, like, thank God.
And then stopping.
Okay,
And then hitting again.
Someone hit that cue a little too early.
But, it was 3 seconds. What was the point of stopping
Yeah, it
it?
was ba-na-na-na-na, ba-na-na-na-na.
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was the yes.
Oh, that's what it was. Yes.
And then yes. Like, okay.
No.
But I'm like, okay, I'm on board. Yeah.
I was really
Give
afraid
me
this
Scott
was
Hall
going to be
versus
a
Booker T.
bad match. I thought this was going to be like I said, Jeff Jarrett, Lash Through, fucking nobodies.
Yeah. Admittedly, I think partially because it's Canada, Booker tries to hype up the crowd and they're like, nah, we like Hall.
Which, why? Is Hall Canadian? I don't know.
No.
No, he's from Maryland.
Yeah.
My boy. Southern Maryland boy.
No, it's just one of those
Which means he's a
where
fuckboy, but
Canada likes
whatever.
who they like and they will not follow your face heel dynamic. I feel like you
Good.
can relate to that.
Respect that.
Hall works over the arm of Booker and slaps his head. We get a big sidekick from Booker. He starts to work over Hall. Hall gains the advantage back with an eye poke, but a flying forearm sends Hall to the floor. Booker tries for the test of strength, but Hall just goes nope and kicks him.
So I did notice that when Booker does the test of strength, it looks like the Oogie Boogie fingers.
A little bit.
I don't know what those are called, but the fingers.
Get a choke bottom from Hall, but Booker kicks out. Fall away slam, then he clotheslines Booker to the floor, and back inside, he tries to use the ropes for a cheating pin, but he can't reach. You see his feet going fuck.
Get it.
We do get a great spitting punch from Hall, which I feel like is an underrated move of his.
Yeah.
I don't know, just that big wind-up punch just always looks so damn good. Hall's punches in general usually look pretty good. You're going to kill me. I wrote Glargay Sleeper from Hall.
Boy, it's not a Glargay Sleeper just because Jeff Jarrett is on the roster.
But it's a sleeper. As something happens in the crowd.
Oh, I don't know.
Do you catch this? The entire crowd just turns away, and I'm like,
I thought somebody was coming out. I don't know.
Yeah, but no one does. It's because they're looking the wrong way, and then from the other direction, Jeff Jarrett comes out. And I'm like, wait.
Oh, good point.
I'm like, wait. Like, my only thought is, did they accidentally telegraph Midnight walking out?
No, well, they wouldn't have popped for that.
I don't know, maybe. But yeah, so Jeff Jarrett and Creative Control come out.
Because we can't have too much of a good
Yeah,
thing.
as Booker powers out of the sleeper. Scissor kick, spinneroonie, and then a Harlem sidekick. Jarrett distracts the ref as Booker fights off Creative Control. Hall
He
hits
destroys them. He does two side kicks to both of them. It's great.
Yeah, he then goes to the corner to kind of jaw at Jarrett, and Hall hits the outsider's edge and gets the pin.
I did write Razor's Edge because it was fewer letters.
I did think Booker was going to win this. I was actually
No, as soon as it was both titles on the line, I knew Hall was going to retain, but...
Lights go out, and Midnight strikes, and she helps Booker out, brawling with everybody, and that's segment.
I swear she looks better.
I thought this was a pretty good match. I wish I had more time.
I wish we had more time with just Booker and Scott Hall before Jeff Jarrett came out and ruined everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thoroughly enjoying this match, and I mean...
They ruined a good thing.
Yeah, it's one of those just like... I'm wondering, do they not have Nash out there because they wanted a distraction finish and it would have been too many elements?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've seen these two have a couple matches and they're usually pretty good. We can't have too much of that though, because we go backstage. Lex Luger's looking for Liz, and then we go to our lowest rated match of the night. It's a negative 2-star match.
No way.
It's not even a fucking match. It's Kimberly versus David Flair.
This got negative 2 stars?
Yeah. We get a video package for this one, and the gall of David Flair. Get your own theme music. You do not come out to Ric Flair's music.
They both came out to music that's not theirs.
Did you know David Flair's shirt?
I was not looking.
It was hard to read, but it said, "Nowhere is safe."
Oh, God.
I didn't look for it too much, and I don't think he really broke much of a sweat, but I was wondering if his eye makeup was going to run during this match.
I think that would have added the psychotic look. I think that would have been good.
I think it would have killed a little bit because
no, I think it would have been great.
Well, because that means he's not been awake for all this time.
Oh, you mean like the under eye? I thought like eyeliner.
No, they clearly tried to make him look sleep deprived. Like I wanted that to start running throughout. I did write, "God damn, Kimberly."
I want that shirt.
I want you to have that shirt.
Remember, I've been talking about how I want a sparkly shirt for New Year's Eve. That's the shirt I want. Give me that.
This is not wrestling attire. We'll at least put it at that.
But nothing pops. She's taped in there good.
Yeah, well, because also, she starts the quote-unquote match by just stretching sexily for about 3 minutes, it feels like.
She's very much starting the, I'm going to seduce you to win sort of, I'm so sexy. You can't hurt me. I'm so sexy. Look at me. I'm on my knees. I'm at your dick level.
Hold on. We'll get there. Because Kimberly low blows David. So he grabs the crowbar and then, has to, weirdly show he's wearing a cup. He doesn't have the showmanship for it. It doesn't get a pop. He just, the way he sells it.
Gestures to his dick.
Yeah. He punches himself in the dick. Yeah, we're in a cup. Okay, weird. When you're on Hinge, you might just be punching your own dick. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
David then hits the ref. Kimberly then drops to her knees and pleads her case. And, literally is I'll blow you right here.
Right.
Starts unbuttoning his pants.
Yeah, she goes for his fly.
She legitimately reaches in because she pulls out the cup.
It's like a jockstrap, right? Is that what a jockstrap is? It looked similar to what I imagine a jockstrap. Look,
as somebody who has done sports with that and has worn cups, it's always a crapshoot of how the cup is going to be held. But I mean, it was a cup she pulls out. But sometimes they're held up by jock straps. Sometimes they're held up by sliding shorts. It's all weird.
Oh, I understand.
So with the cup removed, she then low blows David.
She hits him with the cup.
Well, yeah, after that, she rubs the cup on his face, and I'm like, it's kind of fucking gross.
Sniff your dick.
Yeah, she then chokes him. David pushes her away, grabs the crowbar again. And then, you mentioned it last episode, but...
It's Canyon!
Who better than Canyon?
It's Canyon! I lost my fucking mind. I was so happy you weren't home.
I was
oh my god, it's Canyon!
Oh, I lost my mind at a good portion of the end of this match. Because Canyon runs out, saves Kimberly... David fucking no-sells Kenya's offense like a dickhead. Like,
Yeah.
Kenya puts him down within like 4 seconds. He's just back up. And we get DDP coming out, making his return.
And we got Bam Bam Bigelow in the pre-show in the hype package. So the Jersey Boys are back together. They're back.
Oh my God! What if Tony Marinara starts managing them?
Yo, I'd be down. Oh, I was so excited. That was like the best part of the whole night for me so far.
Yeah. So David
I
Noble
was heartbroken when he said this is a -2 match. Fuck you.
Yeah, so David no blows Canyon's offense and then low blows him. DDP hits a diamond cutter and then grabs the crowbar and is about to kill David Flair.
But it's not over.
It's not over. I wrote, Arn fucking Anderson makes the save.
I was like, oh my God.
Looking proper fit.
The gang's all
he
here.
actually looked in great shape, admittedly.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
And so he makes the save, and before we get to the goddamn betrayal, did you notice the fucking rare shiny Pokemon we have here? Mm-mm. DDP's actual music hits for about 4 seconds.
Oh, I did not hear it.
I
was too excited.
You
about
hear
everything
it go
else happening.
self high five, like, and immediately that no good son of a bitch, David Flair, hits Arn Anderson with the crowbar.
But then he
fuck you, David.
But David, like, after he hits Arn with the crowbar, he, like, Yeti walks out of the ring. The way that he is,
I was too angry to notice.
The way he's holding his body and, like, moving his legs, it's like he's the Yeti. So we got, like, reference on reference on reference. The gang is all here. So
David leaves the crowd. Security helps Arn as he gets stretchered out. I swear during this, there's take it off chance. I don't know why. Like what, the neck brace?
Oh my God. You're telling me that was a -2 star match?
That was fucking wild. Like, just the hits kept coming.
Who do you think you are, Dave Meltzer, to give this -2 fucking stars? Who do you think you are? I'd like your receipts. I'd like to have a chat.
So, yeah, that was a strange match.
Oh, I loved every second of it.
Well, I love the second of the match. I love the bell never rang to end this match, by the way.
Well, this is what I'm talking about with, like, this show. I love this shit. I don't really care about Sid versus Goldberg. I don't really care about Benoit versus Bret Hart. I want more of this faff.
Well, based on how much time this match gets, I don't think the show did either. I did note during the hype package, because the next match is Goldberg versus Sid Vicious in an I Quit match. But in the hype package, do you know what didn't appear? The streak.
You need to let it go. It's over.
That was months long.
You need to drop it. They haven't mentioned it in weeks, babe.
But also not pictured in the hype package, the last 3 weeks of television.
Well, no.
Before we go to the actual match, Mike tonight interviews Sid backstage, who says he will never quit and will take Goldberg apart. And then Sid comes out. It's his other theme. Weird. And I'm like, are they alternating? I don't know.
See, I didn't catch that this was another theme.
We didn't get the full Goldberg entrance. I did have a theory here. It didn't end up being true, but in the hype package, they play the clip of Sid's footage of Goldberg quitting. Because Vince Russo loves to fucking recycle an idea, I thought they were going to do a thing of the outsiders play the audio of Sid saying, I quit. Because it's just Sid saying, I quit for the Goldberg thing. They're going to like splice that audio and play that so that Sid loses. That was my prediction. It's not what it ends up being, but...
Yeah.
Geez, that would almost be a better fucking finish than what we get.
It would not be surprising.
They start brawling, big Oklahoma slam from Goldberg, and this leads to large Goldberg sucks chance.
I was trying to think of a good, like, Bret Hart joke to throw in here. Of like, wow, all of Canada also agrees with Bret Hart about Goldberg.
I mean, the last time they were in Canada was one of our best bits of season 1, which is the steel plate segment.
Oh, I did love that. That was great.
But that was the last time they were in Canada, so I'm like, do they still see him as, the anti-Bret?
Maybe.
Sid hits strikes and then hits a Cobra Clutch slam. They trade more strikes. Sid hits a choke slam, but Goldberg doesn't quit. I'm like, yeah, duh. Sid hits another choke slam, but no quit, so Sid chokes him. I did get a big kick at a fucking Sid Jericho here choking him. Ask him!
Yes, I did catch that.
Goldberg locks in an armbar as the Goldberg sucks chants grow. Goldberg punches Sid on the mat and just keeps hitting strikes. He then locks in a Cobra Clutch and kind of like grapevines around Sid, and the ref calls for the bell. That's it. Goldberg wins.
Yeah, because Sid was knocked out fucking cold.
It's an I quit match. You have to verbally quit.
He was out cold.
Yeah, I mean, also, it was a weird...
You're saying that like there was no submission there. Like, no. Sid was entirely out. I had an argument in a past match that was like an I quit or like something with Sid.
It was the last Sid match where it was a regular match ended by ref stoppage. The whole thing with the I quit match is you have to verbally say I quit, where people really have to like, people have poured water on their opponent to like wake them back up because they've passed out.
I don't have a problem with this.
I mean, to be fair, I think I had a bigger problem with it because it was a random submission hold 5 minutes into a match.
It was a Goldberg match.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I did not like this at all.
I had no problem with it. It was a Sid Goldberg match.
Well, my other problem was the last time they had a match, it ended via ref stoppage, and you just did the same finish.
Because both these men
the whole reason you did this match was to give it a cleaner finish. Why do it again?
You're going into your Jerry Seinfeld impression.
I hated this.
I had no passion about this whatsoever. I could not give two fucking shits about this match. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think that it does seem like they're trying to recycle the Steve Austin. Oh, he didn't quit. He passed out from the pain.
Yes, that's exactly what they're doing. He did not quit. So
Yeah.
Sid gets to hold the I didn't say I quit.
Yeah.
But he passed out. Like, they panned back to him. He was out cold.
Yeah, it was just visually unremarkable move from Goldberg, and
it was an unremarkable match, but it was a Sid Goldberg match. It's exactly what I expected from this match.
I want a big meaty man slapping meat.
Well, I mean, you know how I feel about that too.
Yeah, I wanted one of these matches to be fun, and neither of them were.
No, you don't get fun.
No, clearly not. They really took the wind out of my sails, and it kind of did it on the night too. But let's go backstage for the main event. Mean Gene interviews Lex Luger. Luger says Liz screwed up bad, and he doesn't get mad. He gets even. I'm like, what are you gonna do?
Don't get mad. Get even.
Let's go to our main event. It's the WCW title tournament finals for the WCW title. It is Bret Hart versus Chris Benoit. We do get a nice touch of like the tracking shots of the wrestlers like walking to gorilla position.
Oh yeah, and that gives me my MVP for the night. The dude behind Bret Hart just frantically feeding cable to the guy holding the camera. He was the only one. Like, everyone else was standing stoic watching Bret. He was fucking working.
WWF would do a nice touch with this where here they cut to Benoit, he does his entrance, and they cut to Bret. WWF will cut to both men walking towards Gorilla, and they'll play like the cage lowering music, just like the dun 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 dun. Like, it just adds some atmosphere as opposed to him like coming out, it's just like, oh, here's his random music or like silence.
I didn't hear any music. Yeah, I guess it was just silence and like commentary because I didn't hear any music.
Yeah, so Bret and Benoit both get the long tracking shot. I was hyped for this match, and there was a sign in the crowd that just kind of brought me right back to reality. Sign that read, "Long live Crippler." And I'm just like, oh!
I'm going to be regretting that in about 6 years,
Can we
7
edit
years.
Peacock just to have a different crowd shot? Just splice one in? Like, I was really excited, and it was one of those just active reminders, and I went, I'm now a little less excited.
Ugh, sometimes you just gotta be brought back to reality of like the people you're watching.
So the match starts, they shake hands. Charles Robinson has to separate them in the corner. Benoit hits a quick arm drag and then keeps targeting the arm. Not to be outdone, Bray gets on offense, does the same.
It's exactly what you expect from a Bret Benoit match.
They trade holds on the mat. The crowd is very pro Bret, which I found a little interesting just because both of them are Canadian.
Yeah.
Bret tries to turn a sunset flip into a sharpshooter, but Benoit counters into a crossface attempt, but Bret is in the ropes. I thought it was a nice little smooth spot. We were talking about how the stuff keeps being turned into submissions. I thought that was nice.
It is. It's very smooth.
Bret turnbuckle spot, and then what I thought was the fan from earlier hops the barricade. He hits Benoit with the Canadian flag, and then we realize, no, that's Dean Malenko.
I got very angry.
Yes. Oh, because you wanted organic fan interference?
I love organic fan interference, and I'm never going to get it anymore because they know I love organic fan interference, so it's going to be played in to the fucking show. I thought we actually had something, but no. Fucking whoever wrote this shit had to have Dean Malenko come out and rub his face paint off on the fucking Canadian flag, which I feel like is like not cool, but also didn't come off. So, you know, there's that. They really had to have commentary be like, oh, it's Dean Malenko, for me to be like, oh, that is Dean.
Yeah. The face paint was too good, admittedly.
Yeah. He was not using Sting's face paint, let's say that.
I don't get it in terms of why are you doing this elaborate ruse?
Sneaky.
Like, it's in the middle of the main event title match. Benoit has a lot on his mind already. You can just run out normally.
Sneaky.
So Brett attacks Dean Malenko. He's having none of this bullshit interference. Back inside, Brett hits a pile driver. Brett starts working over the back, but Benoit hits some hard chops. Backbreaker from Benoit, followed up with a back suplex. Brett hits a DDT and goes for a backbreaker, but Benoit counters it into a tombstone. A nice little smooth move there. Chris Benoit goes up top, hits a big diving headbutt, and then the fucking Outsiders run out.
Because of course they do.
The Outsiders beat down Benoit and go to hit Brett, but before they can, Goldberg comes out and makes the save.
Of course he does.
Goldberg spears Nash, goes for the jackhammer, but Hall hits him with a chair.
I did at this point say it's giving WCW. Yeah. This is like very WCW a year ago.
We'll talk about that in a minute because Hart then fights off Hall. They brawl at ringside. Hall and Nash bail as Goldberg chases them and fights them to the back. Like, security kind of breaks that up. Brett and Benoit still go a couple minutes here. Like, these weird false finish, or not even false finish interferences, just like these weird act breaks. Like,
yeah.
Cool, Act 1's over because Dean Malenko came out. Act 2 is over because the Outsiders came out. And I'm like,
now we got the grand finale.
like, none of these are actually for the finish. It just came off so weird. Benoit works over the leg of Brett as they resume. And they're like, wait, never mind. Goldberg and the Outsiders are still brawling because we go split screen. It's really
Why did we go split screen?
It's really hard to not
so
focus on the one
stupid.
side. Benoit hits a big chop, locks in a figure four. Brett gets to the ropes, but his legs are hurt. And that's kind of the story going into this match as well, where like, yeah, he never really recovered from his leg injury from I guess, the last pay-per-view. Brett hits a backbreaker and follows up with setting Benoit up in the corner and hitting a superplex. Once again, I'm just like, it feels too clean that you go, put him up and do the move as intended. I keep being ready for a counter. And
there have just been a lot of counters lately.
Yeah. Russian leg sweep to Benoit and then headbutt to Benoit's lower back. Brett goes for a scoop slam, but Benoit lands on top of him, but falls to the floor. And someone fucking throws a soda at him. Like, go fuck yourself.
And somebody threw toilet paper into the ring, too.
Yeah, that's literally at the finish.
Yeah.
Brett tries to suplex Benoit from the apron, but Benoit counters it into double Germans. He goes for a third, but Benoit counters that counter and goes for the crossface. Brett elbows out of it and just muscles Benoit into the sharpshooter. Someone throws some fucking toilet paper in. Gets him in it. Benoit taps out. New WCW champion, Bret Hart.
Woo!
Brett's family is like immediately in the ring. Like, Jesus, you had them
they were ready. All the kiddos.
The two men hug, and Brett's given a Canadian flag to wave around. And it was a nice ending to the match, but this was just overbooked.
Oh, yeah, there was way too much. The Outsiders did not have to be here. Goldberg did not have to be here. I'm shocked that Jeff Jarrett was not here. Yeah, I thought he was.
True, that's one of those where if you would ask me going into this, I'm like, yeah, Jarrett.
I assumed he was. I think I said that a minute ago.
Yeah, the Dean Malenko is clearly just setting up, I guess, Benoit's next feud. I don't know what Brett's going to do. Yeah, match was good. It was not my favorite on the night.
No, it was fine.
And it was not better than their match.
No, it was not better than their Owen match.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on the match?
No.
Thoughts on the show as a whole?
Way better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, people like are not into the show.
I don't get that.
I mean, again, maybe our standards have been lowered, but like,
I don't know that much though.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a handful of good to decent matches here, and I mean, again, there were 4 negative star matches. Didn't think really.
Yeah.
I didn't think any of them really deserve. I mean, I guess actually maybe the Vampiro and Berlin one, but
yeah, maybe that one.
Even then, in ring it might have been fine, but actually that and the disco match were both just overshadowed by commentary on them.
Yes, agreed.
One of them is just less problematic commentary.
I love Tony Marinara. He can stay on all the time, as far as I'm concerned.
Which is funny because you're not that into marinara sauce.
I don't like marinara sauce.
Well, let's go to best bit, potential worst bit, and MVP.
I've got one for all of the above.
Emily, what is your best bit?
I gave it to the David Kimberly match with all the Jersey boys coming back. Mostly just Canyon's return, honestly.
Okay.
It gave me so much joy. I know this was a card full of great matches, but that one brought me so much joy.
You're going to give it to the match where Kimberly...
Not the match, just Canyon.
Just Canyon's return.
Canyon's return.
Hold on, just Canyon's return or all three?
The Jersey Boys, all three.
No Arn? You didn't pop for Arn?
Okay, I'll give it to everyone in that match that's not actually in the match.
The trio of returns.
Sure.
In all honesty, much like Bam Bam Bigelow, I'd be totally fine if Arn Anderson replaced Bam Bam Bigelow as part of the Jersey Boys.
I wish Bam Bam Bigelow came down with this. I was hoping that he would.
I don't think it's too much of a surprise that I'm giving mine to the opening match, the Jarrett Benoit match. I thought it was the best match on the card.
Okay.
Emily, do you have a worst bit?
Obviously.
What is your worst bit?
The Vampiro Berlin match.
That was really close to mine.
What was yours?
Again, you disagree. It was the finish to Goldberg Sid. I know
We're
it wasn't a great
talking about
build.
how we're lowering our standards, and you're still gonna get mad about that shit?
Yes.
Why?
Don't do the rematch.
What's
and do
your
the same finish? Don't have an
Protect your heart, Nick.
The entire point of the I Quit match is for someone to verbally quit, not have ref stoppage.
He was knocked out. They even panned back to him at the end after everything was done. He was still out cold on the mat. It's not like he popped back up.
Do a submission match.
I'm gonna need you to let it go.
I'll let it go literally tomorrow. For right now, no. That is my worst bit. I remember, it's funny, ever going into this go like, I don't know if I have a worst bit. Maybe that. And then I just went, oh, this fucker. God. And then MVP. What do you got? Brett. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. It's one of those where it almost feels like Brett by default. By the way, with you giving it to Brett, you've given it to Brett 4 out of the last 5 episodes.
I mean, yeah, that tracks.
I think Norman Smiley was your one other MVP. Wow, what a fucking lineup there. Yeah, I think it's got to be Brett. I mean,
it is by default, but like no one else stood out, and he won the championship. I guess
it's another one of those where I'll give it to Benoit, but we said
nope, we're not allowed.
So yeah, other than Brett, I don't know who you'd give it to. This is Brett's night. This is literally. I mean, he's been in WCW for 2 years. He's been waiting for this moment, and it is a nice moment. The crowd loves it. It's it's a good way to send everybody home happy. And also, we've kind of mentioned this before. I sometimes wonder, like, are we a slave to the main event where it's like, hey, it's a feel-good ending, and therefore we kind of feel better about the show as opposed to, oh, this is just dark-sided.
I don't know. Maybe.
That's going to do it for this episode of the Butts in the Seats podcast. Our next episode will be our first one of 2023.
Gross. That's a hell of a year coming up. We're getting married.
Yeah, it's going to be the start of the build to Starcade.
It's the start of the build to our wedding. It's a really long build.
Yeah, until the next episode, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Butts in the Pod and on Facebook at the Butts in the Seats Podcast. Also listen to all of our back catalog on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Emily, any closing thoughts as we get out of here? I mean, this is going to be released, I guess, probably the day before or the day of New Year's Eve.
Thank you guys for another really good year. We've had a lot of fun, and we appreciate all the support we've had, and I hope you guys have a happy, healthy, and safe New Year's Eve and a great 2023.
Until we go down the road towards Starcade 99, I'm Nick.
I'm Emily.
And thanks for listening to the Butts in the Seats podcast.
Bye.